Welcome back to the Earth Intuitive Podcast, a hub for sensitive and intuitive women to feel comforted, supported, and whole in their healing journey. I'm your host, Brittany Nelson, and I can't wait to gather in circle with all of you today. We're going to talk about my 10 most favorite things to do, 10 simple shifts and tricks that make all the difference as an HSP, referring to highly sensitive person. So whether or not you identify as a highly sensitive person or not, most folks that listen to this podcast at least identify as an empath or an intuitive woman, right? There doesn't have to be a specific label, but you might feel a little bit more deeply than the quote norm, yang, Y-A-N-G, or masculine, if you want to call it that, energy that our culture is so obsessed with, making things faster, getting things done, and it comes at a cost. All these data centers are being put into our precious lands to make things faster so that we can research faster with AI. Right? But it comes at a cost. It's going to cost us a lot of water. It may cost us some more wildfires. It's going to cost us people's peace in their home. So many things with. And this is important to talk about these bigger mirrors of what this looks like. And so to tend to caretake, is to show up differently than just doing. We're being more present and mindful. We're using our body. So to tend to something is to tend to our body, to tend to our children, to tend to a project. Maybe it's a book you're writing or a song you're writing or something that you're creating on the side, like a coaching business or whatever it is. This act of tending to is not rushed. It's much more of a yin energy. If you want to call it feminine energy. We don't need to rush our healing. We don't need to rush our process. In fact, we can't. And if we try to do it, we're just going to feel more frustrated. And so this is kind of the frame of mind I want to come in with before I just give you a list of all the things you should be doing, is to reframe this thing of like, I can't afford it, or I don't deserve it, or whatever is in the back of your mind or in your subconscious mind that you may not even be aware of. When I sat with how I'm going to really be successful in this career that I have as an Ayurvedic health counselor and teacher, as a highly sensitive person, right? It's like, how am I going to really have success? And the vision that I got was not really typical. It's not what you would think. I saw myself doing a lot of self-care, like red light therapy and saunas and going to this healer and going to that healer and like doing a lot of things because this is what brings me up from the bottom of the barrel, right? So I am able to have so much more energy, so much more vitality, so that what comes through me is clearer. I help more people. And then, of course, creating more financial abundance. This is the feminine way. This is so different, y'all, from this whole concept of grinding, getting through our to-do list. Not that that's bad, but it's that our culture has been there for too long. We have modeled and framed our work life off male bodies. And that's just not us as women, if you are listening to this. We have very different cycles. And you know this, especially if you're really in tune with that. So let's just take a breath, just letting all that soak in, that message of tending to, that message of taking even more time for self-care before you really go out into the world and create massive things. Really quickly, as an aside, I'll mention this. I had this idea last week, I think it was. I was in Colorado and I woke up with an idea to just test the waters, just put a message out onto this local town I live by about potentially putting a women's circle together. And I was blown away by the response. I had over 100 DM threads open. I've gathered over 80 emails to put together a monthly women's circle. So now I got to do more than one a month because there's so many women interested. I don't think that this would have happened a few months ago because my nervous system couldn't hold all of this. Because it's just not going to happen. Even if you're a go-getter and you want to do all the things, it's one thing to talk about doing something. It's another thing to actually practice it. And it can take people many, many months to really solidify new habits. So I don't necessarily want you to go off and say you're going to do all this stuff. There might be one, maybe two things that you're like, ooh, that really struck a chord. I want to try that out. Okay, so these are just ideas for you as an HSP, as someone with a more sensitive nervous system, as someone who maybe is healing, or if you're neurodivergent, whatever it is that you need a little bit more care, this is for you. Okay, so let's dive into the list. Number 1 is clearing space. In Ayurveda, we call this V-Yoga, V-I-Y-O-G-A. It is that question, what can I remove from my life or from my daily routine or from my plate in order to bring more of what I want? So if you're always exhausted and burnt out, you got to start cleaning out your schedule. You got to start maybe, assigning some tasks that you're doing to other people. This is also about clutter in your home. I'm not the cleanest person and my partner is not the cleanest person. We're not natural homemakers or cleaners. It's just not our strength. So we have a cleaning team that comes here once a month to do deep cleaning. And a lot of times if I go out of town or if I'm gone for a little bit and I come home, I could see more clearly, oh, okay, this is a little chaotic in here. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of that. You can do it slowly, slowly, slowly. Most of you probably already know this by now, that like if you come home to a cluttered home, you're going to feel stressed out. It's also an energy block with financial abundance and feng shui. So we want to have a cleared out space where we can move about freely, where we feel like we can breathe, where we have a practice space. And I know that not all of us have the space we want or need. I use the corner of our bedroom as my office. There's a lot of stuff in our bedroom because our house doesn't really have closets or any storage. It's just how it is. It's not ideal for me either, but I'm figuring out ways to make it better. And I have inspiration from places I visit. And when there's more space and cleanliness, we all feel better, right? You can also do this with your body. This is so important. If you're out in public all day long, or you're out shopping, or you're at a concert, or whatever it is, you're doing a lot of stuff out with people all day, you come home and you're like, you're ready to wind down. It might be really nice to cleanse off all that energy with water. So I love to take a shower at night sometimes if I'm really, really busy. You can take a bath. If you don't want to do all that, you can do a nice oil massage, Abhyanga massage. Self-oil massage is just warming up some oil that you have around the house, maybe sesame oil in the winter, coconut or sunflower oil in the summer. Warm it up, rub it all over your body, relax, and you can rinse it off if you'd like. You can do any sort of clearing energetic practices around your body. You can smudge, sage, or simply take your shoes off, come home, put your bare feet on the earth, breathe, take a forest walk. That's another great way I like to decompress after a really busy day. We live about an hour from Portland, and so I'll have like Portland days where I have appointments or whatever it is I need to go in there for. And I'll come home and often I will take a forest walk just to kind of slow the pace down a little bit, come back to the earth. Number 2 is lighting. Lighting is so important as a sensitive. We have more sensitivity to stimulus and stimuli. So if you work in an office or school or something with fluorescent lighting, there's not much you can do about that, right? But we can change that in our home. So try as best you can to have natural lighting in your home. I believe they also sell light bulbs that are a little bit less fluorescent-y. You can get kind of more of the old school light bulbs, candlelit light bulbs. That's going to be a lot better for you. I just got a little travel red light and I love it. I love putting that on at night. It's really soothing. It creates more melatonin in your brain to wind down for sleep. There's so much science coming out now about how important it is to touch trees. Like, we don't really need scientific proof, right? You'll probably already feel it and notice it, that when we touch a tree, when we put our feet on the soil or on the ground, something starts to shift in our body. Something starts to release. And so if you're feeling panicky or anything like that, I used to get panic attacks way back in the day. And I wish I would have known this back then. I figured it out later on. Put your hands on the earth. Take your shoes off and go for a walk. It's going to immediately bring all that charge that's in your body out through your feet. And you can just imagine it moving out through your feet. Your electromagnetic field begins to quiet down and soften, and we ground ourselves. Again, there's scientific proof about this. I'm not going to have like studies pulled up. You guys can look it up yourself if you're a skeptic. This stuff is really powerful. It's not just for hippy dippy people. This stuff is powerful. I've been touching trees naturally since I was like 3 years old. I don't even remember doing it. I found an old home movie, or I was playing tag with a friend and I paused to put my hands on a tree because kids are intuitive, and I do it all the time today, and I don't care what I look like. This is smart, intelligent stuff that is free. Again, a lot of this is free that you don't have to pay for. And it's way better than buying all these biohacking devices to ground yourself. Just go out in nature and do it yourself. Number 4, say no more often. Say no more often. So this is really similar to number 1, the yoga. What can we remove from our life that's creating too much stress, clutter? Okay. It might be something in your schedule. Maybe there's some activity you can just stop doing. Maybe there's an activity your kid is doing that he or she's not really into. And you're like, this is taking up so much of our time. Is it really worth it? Can we let this go? Maybe it's a friend that you're just feeling like it's not giving you life anymore. Like it's a one-way street. It could be a million other things. Like, what is that one or two thing in your week that you can let go of? Say more often, no more often also means setting boundaries. Those of us that are sensitive tend to struggle with people pleasing. I see it so much all the time. And I think I've gotten better about being more bold and honest about what I need. And sometimes it can make people uncomfortable because they don't know how to do that yet. And if that's you, that's okay. It's a process of unlearning. If you're sensitive and you're an empath, people are going to be naturally drawn to you. They're going to want your help. They're going to want your advice. They're going to tell you all their secrets. Set those boundaries in a loving way. Remind them that you're not their therapist. Remind them that you're a human too and you have needs. And this is a practice. This can be really hard to set those boundaries with people, but man, is it important. And so whether that has to do with a friendship or a new person in your life, maybe even your partner or a parent or a sibling or a friend, I don't care what it is. In order to have a healthy relationship, you got to set those boundaries. Do a practice that works for you. Maybe it's a meditation. Maybe it's simply reading in bed. Maybe you want to sit at your favorite chair in your living room and sip your coffee and look out the window. That's a beautiful morning practice. We need to have these moments of decompression. I remember as a kid, I was way too busy. I was rushed all the time. I was exhausted all the time. And guess what? I was sick all the time too. I didn't know how to regulate myself. We weren't taught that back then. And I was just always like burnt out, like chronically. And then I ended up getting into trouble more because of that. I wasn't nourished or resourced. I didn't realize what I actually needed. And so because of that, I was moody way more often because I wasn't getting my needs met. So this is something you could practice with your kids too. And you might even notice they do it already. I've got 3 stepkids I live with part-time, and they've got their morning routines, right? They might watch TV before they go to school. They do this, they do that. They can't just get up and fly right out the door. Really, really important is to decompress at the end of the day. This is especially if you're busy or if you have some sleep troubles. Again, do that low light. Maybe you want to do a practice at the end of the day. It could be like a 5-10 minute yin yoga practice or just stretching on the floor. Maybe you want to do yoga nidra or hypnotherapy. I've been doing hypnotherapy every day almost for 15 minutes, and it's been so healing, you guys. It's really transformed my sleep and my health, and you don't have to take a pill for it. Some sort of transitional practice that tells your body it's time to wind down. So you know what that is. If you need more ideas, just hit me up and I'll give you a big list of stuff you can do. Okay, number 6, simplicity is key. Simplicity is key. So if you are on the self-improvement bandwagon and you want to do all the things and try all the things, in Ayurveda, we would call this the Pitta dosha, the one who wants to work really hard and be a perfectionist and do really well at this whole self-care thing. Sometimes we actually need to do less. When I was going through a big health flare-up in the winter, it was so difficult. What I actually found to be the most helpful were the most simple things. It was hot water. It was using a heating pad. It was not eating at night. It was eating nourishing broths like miso soup or chicken broth. Like super simple shifts that anyone can make. Sometimes all you need is a little warm water. Sometimes all you need is some warm socks on your feet. Maybe some lavender spray on your pillow. Like very simple. Because when we have these sensitive systems, we don't need to put a lot of heavy load as the remedy. If we have sensitive systems, what's going to actually be more compatible is subtle, sensitive medicine. That might be something homeopathic. That might just be essential oil that you're smelling. That might just be some oil on your feet, put your socks on, get into bed. Something really simple is going to be obviously safer for you, right? Pretty harmless, but also just more relaxing to your nervous system. We don't need to do 10 things before bed. Maybe we just do 1 or 2 things that's going to calm you down. And guys, this is a message for myself because I tend to do all the things. All right, number 7, energetic practices daily. We kind of talked a little bit about this with decompression, but it's also important to call back your energy. There's a lot of unseen stuff that's happening when you're sensitive, right? You might have attachments that could come in to other people, other entities or beings. We don't want that. You could have parts of yourself that are left at a situation or with other people or a specific place. So there's a really beautiful practice of calling your energy back into yourself. And you can do this at the end of the day or whenever you have the time or whenever you remember it. And a really simple way to do this is you just say, I call all parts of me back to myself, anywhere that I left behind. And then just imagine a golden thread on each corner of the room you're sitting in and draw that in towards yourself. Fill yourself up with golden light so that you feel whole, especially if you're burnt out or you're feeling like you've been giving. This is really important. This is more of an unseen way of bringing your energy back in and feeling more vital. It's so important. Number 8, herbs to nourish your nervous system. Now, not everybody wants to take stuff, but I've always been an herb nerd myself. I always love working with the plants. I'm just going to mention a few that are really good for your nervous system. Number 1, ashwagandha. This is great for your HPA axis. This helps with fight or flight. This helps with just really helping your body respond to stress better because we have more stressors in our life now with pollution and with technology and with the food not being as nutritious. There's just a lot more stressors on our body. Everything is more fast-paced. So a lot of us need all this stuff because we just live in a different time in a much faster pace. Ashwagandha is my number 1 herb. I've been using it for a very, very, very long time. Really good stuff. Holy basil is another one that's a good adaptogen. So these are under the adaptogen category. Maca is a good one. Physically is important, but also energetically it's very important as well. We want to keep that fresh air coming in. We don't want to have stuck, stagnant air because if you're sensitive, you'll probably wake up and feel uncomfortable. So just having a window cracked, we also want to do this because we sleep better when it's colder in the room. So a lot of times, depending on the temperature, I'll crack a window. I might even crack our sliding door a little bit. And this is just going to help things keep moving, which is what we want when we're sleeping especially. This also helps recycle old air, so it's purifying, and also just to bring nature in. It's so important that we do this. Number 10. This one is probably going to seem counterintuitive to all of this stuff, but it's very important, okay? In order to heal our nervous system, we can't just do all these practices to protect it. We want to feel grounded most of the time, and we want to build strength in our nervous system, just like exercising, where we're building strength in our muscles. Usually when you lift weights, you're creating little tears in your muscles, and then that creates more strength over time, but you're creating a micro tear. So when we do things that are challenging to our nervous systems, like travel or parent, that's a huge one. Oh my gosh. Or, go to a class we've never been to, or go to a party where we don't really know anyone. It might feel scary to us, but it's important that we do this stuff regularly. We don't want to end up like a monk. And that was me, and I needed it for a long time. I was sort of in this healing bubble where I lived on my own. I didn't have anyone else with me in the room. I was having a very slow-paced life. It was beautiful and it was healing, and I needed it at the time, but it wasn't like real life for everybody. Now I live with people, and there's noise, and there's stuff that I'm still adapting to, but it's building my strength and my capacity to hold more. It's creating more resiliency in my nervous system. And when I went to Japan back in April, I think it was like late March, early April, we had a great trip, but it was also very difficult because we were sick. We had like the flu half the time. We brought all the kids. It's a huge trip overseas. The travel over there was a lot. The jet lag was a lot. The tight spaces was a lot, right? It was just like one thing after the other. But I can tell you, after I got through that time, I felt something deep shift in me. I felt like my nervous system shifted. People would talk to me and tell me, wow, you look amazing, because I went through the ringer to then come out stronger. So you don't necessarily need to have a huge, intense experience, especially if you're at the beginning stages of your healing journey. You actually want to have more comfort and safety, but we don't want to get stuck in a healing bubble where we're like afraid to eat things, we're afraid to travel, we're afraid to do this, we're afraid to do that, because what that's going to do, it's going to create more anxiety in our system, more stress in our system. We're going to be unwilling to live life and to just meet new people and go do stuff. And we're going to be less happy, right? Because we're not allowing ourselves to have those bigger experiences. And it's important that we still live our lives, even if you're on the healing journey. So I challenge you and invite you to lean into that. If there's something that's not comfortable, if you're traveling and you're like, I don't feel super comfortable here, like, you have the tools to make yourself feel more comfortable. You have the tools to know that whatever it is you're going through is temporary, and that's going to make you stronger. So we want to have a dash of that. Not a lot, but just a dash of that in our arsenal, because it can feel really easy to get stuck in our habits and rigid in our self-care. And I am one of those people, and that's why I'm talking about this. So that is the list of 10. You guys, let me know what you think. If there's something that really stuck out to you, if there's something you're already doing, let me know in the comments. If you have questions, email me in the show notes. And if you're like, wow, this is a lot, I think I need more one-on-one support, I'm going through a lot, I'm inviting you into my program, Nourished. This is a 6-month deep dive program. We've got 6 one-on-one sessions that are really personal to what you're going through right now, your health goals. And then you get my embodied Ayurveda course, which is 10 hour-long classes that you do at your own pace. You get lifetime access to this to learn all about this stuff: sleep, nervous system health, herbs, and so much more. Visit earthintuitive.com to schedule a free 20-minute chat where we can just get to know each other a little bit better. And other than that, I just really want to thank you for being here. This is a newer podcast. I would really appreciate if you shared this with a friend, give us a rating, or leave a comment of how this resonated for you. Thank you guys, and I will see you all next week.